The Lakers made it official yesterday, firing Frank Vogel, and it was no secret that they underachieved the past 2 seasons. You lose in the first round in 2021, failed to make the play-in tournament this year, and they do have talent. It's just the pieces didn't fit. And it's like having a jigsaw puzzle, and then you open it up, and then you start to put it together, and you go, wait, is this the wrong jigsaw puzzle? Or maybe half of it's the jigsaw puzzle you thought it was, and the other half isn't. And then you start to point fingers. Well, Frank Vogel, you point the finger at him because he's the one who got fired. But they had more starting lineups than wins this year. And Frank Vogel wasn't the one who said, let's bring in Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook did talk about a disconnect he had with Frank Vogel. He talked yesterday.
I'm not sure what his issue was with me, or I'm not sure why, but I can't really give you an answer why we never really connected. Maybe, that's something that he has to answer, but I never, from the get-go was feeling like I was having to try to prove myself to him and my capabilities and what I've been able to do for this game. And it's unfortunate, but it's really not kind of out of my hands.
Okay, Russell Westbrook doesn't have a title. It's up to him to fit in with Frank Vogel's team. Frank Vogel's got a championship. Russell Westbrook doesn't. Now, is he a Hall of Famer? Absolutely. But I always find that interesting that you come to a new team and then you expect the coach to maybe meet you halfway, more than halfway. Russ has to meet him halfway as well, and it felt like there was a disconnect from the beginning. And that might be in part because Frank Vogel didn't want Russell Westbrook. Because Frank wants guys who are going to play defense, and Russell Westbrook is not going to play defense. Yes, Eden.
But don't you want to, if you bring in a player, don't you want to play to their strengths rather than force them into your box of what they think they should be?
I don't know what Russell Westbrook's strengths are anymore, Seton. That's part of the problem is Russ thinks he's a player that he used to be, and he's a singular talent. And the comparison you're always going to get is Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson, they created a system for Allen Iverson. You're not creating a system for Russell Westbrook, certainly with the Lakers. Yes,
because when you listen to LeBron James' soundbite, one of them from yesterday, it seemed pretty clear that he had an idea of the way Russ should play and what he thought of. LeBron says, well, you have Russ leading the break. I'm out on the wing. AD is the lob threat. It seemed pretty clear that in LeBron James's mind, he had a role for Russell Westbrook.
Well, LeBron certainly loves Russell Westbrook. He had this to say yesterday.
One thing about Russ that I love and will always love is, just his competitive spirit, what he brings to the game every single night. And when you're in a profession where so many injuries happen and so many things go on, and to have a guy that's reliable and can put on a uniform every single night, that's something I respect, out of everything. And, I'm not going to sit here and make decisions for the front office and things of that nature, but I love being a teammate with Russ, and, that's just the way it is.
I can put on a uniform every night. It's what I do when I wear the uniform. Man, I love having Russ out here every night. Ball going off his legs, turnovers, missed shots. Yeah, but he's out here every night. Yes,
I'm surprised it's not being twisted more into a shot at Anthony Davis, like a dude who's not out there every night because he's so fragile.
Ooh.
That's kind of what LeBron is saying. I respect a guy who could be out here playing every night.
Well,
it doesn't get hurt.
Well, it doesn't sound like Russell Westbrook's going anywhere if LeBron has his say-so, or at least he's saying this publicly. But he may love Russ, and Russ does play hard. I've said this many times on the show. I do love the fact that he does care. I just don't think he plays well. And there's a reason why you've been on 4 teams in the last 4 years. You can't build around him. When he averaged a triple-double, it was his team. But that's a long time ago. And there was a fascination with Russ with what he was doing. And, you win the MVP, he's going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, but that's why he got kicked to the curb in these other places. Houston, Washington. With the Lakers, he's just not that same player. And he never developed a jump shot. And it feels like he can be careless. He does try to do too much sometimes. And he's not one of those guys that, boy, get him in a half-court offense and he's going to pick you apart. I mean, he's not Chris Paul. And even in transition, he just gets loose with things. He gets kind of in his mind. His mind is going so fast in trying to process, and then his body can't keep up with it, or vice versa. But now the Lakers looking for a replacement. They have no cap space, an aging roster, an impatient front office. Other than that, should be great. But I guess LeBron's saying publicly he loves Russ, and you're going to bring him back. And maybe if you bring in another head coach, like I don't know if you can change him. You know, Allen Iverson still wanted to be Allen Iverson his entire career. I can't change you at 34. You know, Kevin Love changed when he, was winning a championship. In Minnesota, he was a guy putting up 20 and 20 some nights, 30 and 30 one night. But he wasn't, they weren't winning. They weren't doing anything. He knows that he's got to be the third wheel with LeBron and Kyrie. When Chris Bosh went to Miami, Bosh knew that I used to be the man in Toronto. Now I'm third in line. The pecking order with the throne, it's LeBron, D. Wade, and then it's me. Does Russ understand that? And what is that role that you just plug him in there? It's not like he's a sharpshooter or a shot blocker. He's got the ball all the time. And that's not always a good thing. Yeah, Paulie.
And Russell has never stopped shooting. Like, he doesn't shoot as much because there's more options on his team. I always wish he would play like Rajon Rondo did. Rondo knew he couldn't shoot, so he didn't shoot a lot. He would shoot economically, but he'd lead the team in assists, lead the team in steals, rebound like crazy, be a defensive force. Rondo won and was always a good player because he knew he couldn't shoot and avoided it.
Yeah.
I sort of felt like when I watched
Well, Rajon was never at the level that Westbrook was.
Well, the Westbrook of mass numbers, not mass efficiency.
Yeah, but Westbrook won an MVP. Rajon Rondo has never come close.
No, but
so to have that, I was the MVP. Rondo was just a really good complementary player. He did the right things. He very high basketball IQ, understood the game and his role. But if you're the MVP and I averaged a triple-double, it's not like you can kind of suppress your ego and go, and now I'm just going to be a defensive guy or I'm going to rebound. I would never let him shoot a jumper. I would tell him every single time, just go to the hoop. That's it. Just go to the hoop. But I would also insist that he play defense because you can't be that good of an athlete and then you're not a lockdown defender. And look, nobody played defense for this team. They were one of the worst defensive teams. And they didn't even care. They weren't even hiding the fact that they were terrible on defense. But we'll talk to Nick Wright about what the Lakers do from here. Does Quinn Snyder want to leave Utah? Is Utah going to maybe dismantle that team? Is this the final run for them? Would Doc want to go back to Los Angeles? Would he want to leave Philadelphia? I also wonder, does Philly want Doc Rivers back? I guess that would be the bigger question there.